chapter 10. And it came to pass after this, that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. And David said, I will show kindness unto Hanun the son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness unto me. So David sent by the hand of his servants to comfort him concerning his father. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. But the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun their lord, Thinkest you that David doth honor your father, that he hath sent comforters unto you? Hath not David sent his servants unto you to search the city and spy it out, and to overthrow it? So Hanun took David's servants and shaved off the one half of their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to the buttocks, and sent them away. And when they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. And the men of the children of Ammon saw that they were become odious to David. The children of Ammon sent and hired the Arameans of Beth-Rahab and the Arameans of Zobah 20,000 footmen, and the king of Maacah with 1,000 men, and the men of Tov 12,000 men. And when David heard of it, he sent Joab and the host of the mighty men. And the children of Ammon came out and put the battle in array at the entrance of the gate. And the Arameans of Zobah and of Rahab and the men of Tov and of Maacah were by themselves in the field. Now when Joab saw that the battle was set against him before and behind, he chose of all the choice men of Israel, and put them in array against the Arameans. And the rest of the people he committed into the hand of Abishai his brother, and he put them in array against the children of Ammon. And he said, If the Arameans be too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for you, then I will come and help you. Be of good courage, and let us prove strong for our people, and for the cities of our God, and the Lord do that which seemeth him good. So Joab and the people that were with him drew nigh unto the battle against the Arameans, and they fled before him. And when the children of Ammon saw the Arameans were fled, they likewise fled before Abishai, and entered into the city. Then Joab returned from the children of Ammon, and came to Jerusalem. And when the Arameans saw that they were put to the worse before Israel, they gathered themselves together. And Hadassah sent and brought out the Arameans that were beyond the river. And they came to Helam with Shobach, and the captain of the host of Hadassah at their head. And it was told David, and he gathered all Israel together, and passed over the Jordan, and came to Helam. And the Arameans set themselves in array against David, and fought with him. And the Arameans fled before Israel, and David slew of the Arameans 700 drivers of chariots, and 40,000 horsemen, and smote Shobach, the captain of their host, so that he died there. And when all the kings that were servants to Hadassah saw that they were put to the worse before Israel, they made peace with Israel, and served them. So the Arameans feared to help the children of Ammon any more. All right, let's go back to verse 1. Now we'll remember yesterday, David had restored the house of Saul unto Mephibosheth. During this period of time, the king of Ammon dies, and that's where we're going to pick it up. Verse 1, And it came to pass after this, that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. So, we may remember the king of Ammon. Ammon means tribal, or the nations is what we would, these represent all the nations, and Hanun means to have pity on those that are besieged. Verse 2, And David said, I will show kindness unto Hanun, the son of Nahash, as his father showed kindness unto me. So David sent by the hand of his servants to comfort him concerning his father. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. So David's heard that the king of Ammon has died, and he says, I will show kindness now to his son Hanun. He will be the new king, this one who will have pity. And Nahash means serpent. He's the serpent, just the snake. And we'll remember Nahash. He was the one that tried to make a covenant with Israel. The only thing is he wanted to gouge out their eyes. So David sent his servants over to Hanun, the son of Nahash, and they've come to the children of Ammon, 3. But the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun their lord, Thinkest you that David doth honor your father, that he hath sent comforters unto you? Hath not David sent his servants unto you to search the city, and to spy it out, and to overthrow it? So the servants of Hanun now, they've convinced him that David's not sent these guys over here to say he's sorry for you, or he feels sorry for you, but he sent them in here to look around the place, because he plans on coming in here and trying to take over. 4. So Hanun took David's servants and shaved off the one half of their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. So now Hanun, he's shaved off half the beards of these servants. David sent these guys over to show his respect, and Hanun's took them and shaved off half their beard. And this is to humiliate them, to show that he's just humiliating them, and he cuts their garments off and exposes their buttocks so that they run around with their buttocks exposed and showing their nakedness. And this has higher symbology in that the garment's been removed, and the covering that they have from God. 5. And when they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, for the men were greatly ashamed. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. So now David's heard what Hanun has done to his servants, and he's come to meet them. And when he sees them, their beards half shaved, and he says to them now, Stay here at Jericho until your beards grow back, and then come back to the city. Now, we'll remember, we see here that they've rebuilt Jericho. God said you should never rebuild this city. So they have rebuilt Jericho. Jericho is this city of lesser light that God destroyed, and this was a devoted thing unto God. And we're going to remember now what happened to Achan, the troubler. But they have rebuilt this city of Jericho, so somebody's going to have to pay the price for this. 6. And when the children of Ammon saw that they were become odious to David, the children of Ammon sent and hired the Arameans of Beth-Rahab and the Arameans of Zobah, 20,000 footmen, and the king of Maacah with 1,000 men, and the men of Tov, 12,000 men. So now the children of Ammon have figured out David's not happy with them. They've made themselves odious or to stink, and basically they've not made themselves very pleasant in the presence of David. And these would be so they've gone now and they've hired these Arameans, and these Arameans are the enlightened ones, and they've hired them of Beth-Rahab, and Beth is the house, Rahab is the place made wide, and this place made wide represents the truth, how they've took and broadened it out so that you can fit in there when God's law is straight and clear. But they've made it broadened, and we'll hear the prophets will talk about this later, and they'll reference it as to sewing pillows to the arm of God. But they've hired these Arameans, and these Arameans of Zobah, and Zobah, we remember, is that place of stationing, or that post, the place where the guard should be set, and they've hired there 20,000 men. And 20 is redemption, and 1,000 this divine fulfillment. And the king of Maacah means the place of pressing. So this place of mashing down, and they've hired now 1,000 men of him, and this mashing down is God's divine fulfillment, because that's what he's doing. He's pressing the grapes in the wine press. And these men of Tov means good. Tov simply is the word for good. 12,000 men. 12 means understanding. 1,000, divine fulfillment. So God wants us to understand his divine fulfillment, in that he does punish these that come against his word. 7, and when David heard of it, he sent Joab and all the host of the mighty men. So now these enlightened ones have come now from this place that was made wide into the pressing place and the place of goodness. And they've come now, and they're going to fight against David. So David sent Joab. Joab means God is the Father, and he's the captain of the host of the armies of Israel. 8, and the children of Ammon came out, and they put the battle in array at the entrance of the gate. So now the children of Ammon, the children of the nations, have come out, and they've put themselves in array at the gate here. They're getting ready to fight. And the Arameans of Zobah and of Rahab and the men of Tov and Maacah were by themselves in the field. So now the men of Ammon have come out in the gate by the city here, and they're getting ready to fight, and they've got their army set up. And these others, these Arameans, they're out in the field, and Joab is surrounded. 9, now when Joab saw the battle was set against him, before and behind, he chose of the choice men of Israel, and put them in array against the Arameans. So now Joab, God his father, sees that this battle is set in array. He's surrounded. He chooses the choice men now of Israel, and he sets them in array against these enlightened ones. 10, and the rest of the people he committed into the hand of Abishai his brother, and he put them in array against the children of Ammon. And we'll remember Abishai. He is the brother of Joab, and there was Asahel, but he was killed by Abner. And Abishai means my father's present. He is like a gift from God. So now Joab got his brother Abishai, and he set them against the children of Ammon, or the nations. And he said, if the Arameans be too strong for me, then you shall help me. But if the children of Ammon be too strong for you, then I will come and help you. So this is Joab and Abishai's battle plan here, is that if one starts to be overcome, the other shall help him. 12, be of good courage, and let us prove strong for our people and for the cities of our God, and the Lord do that which seemeth him good. So Joab tells Abishai now to be of good courage and prove strong our people and the cities of our God, and the Lord doeth that which seemeth him good. And basically he's turning this whole battle over into the hands of God himself. 13, so Joab and the people that were with him drew nigh unto the battle against the Arameans, and they fled before him. So as soon as Joab goes out and heads out for the Arameans, these enlightened ones, they get scared and they run off. 14, and when the children of Ammon saw that the Arameans were fled, they likewise fled before Abishai, and entered into the city. Then Joab returned from the children of Ammon and came to Jerusalem. So the Ammonites and these Arameans, they have just got scared, and they've run off from the battle. And Joab, he's went back to Jerusalem. And Jerusalem, we remember, is this city or this place of teachings of peace. Now, when the Arameans saw that they were put to the worst before Israel, they gathered themselves together. So the Arameans now, they've seen that Israel's put them to the worst, and they're just kind of ashamed of themselves. So they've pulled themselves together now. 16, and Hadadsar sent and brought out the Arameans that were beyond the river. And they came to Helam with Shobach, the captain of the host of Hadadsar, at their head. And we'll remember Hadadsar. He is this mighty helper, and he's called all the Arameans that were beyond the river. And this river is most likely the Jordan River, those waters that descend. And they came to Helam, and Helam is this place of strength. And they've got Shobach, the captain of the host of Hadadsar, at their head. And Shobach means an entanglement, in a sense, of a bunch of branches that go out and just tangle all together. 17, and it was told David, and he gathered all Israel together and passed over the Jordan and came to Helam, and the Arameans set themselves in array against David and fought with him. So now David has heard that David has heard that Hadadsar has got all the armies together and have come out against Israel. And so he gathers up all his armies together, and he crosses over these waters that descend, and he comes to this place of strength. And these enlightened ones have set themselves array in wait for David, and they fight with him. 18, and the Arameans fled before Israel. And David slew of the Arameans 700 drivers of chariots. And these 7 is his perfect judgment. And what he's done, he's given a battle over to David against these ones who are enlightened. And he's cut their armies up. And 40,000 horsemen. This is the probation of fulfillment. And he smote Shobach, the captain of their host, so that he died there. And Shobach, once again, is this entanglement. God's showing you how he's going to give a great victory over to David against the enlightened ones, so that he can complete his judgment. 19, and when all the kings that were servants to Hadadsar saw that they were put to the worst before Israel, they made peace with Israel and served them. So the Arameans feared to help the children of Ammon any more. So David and his armies now have whooped Hadadsar, this mighty helper, and all his armies, and they've come and made themselves servants unto David. They've made peace with Israel in the fact that they decided they ain't going to help the nations anymore, these enlightened ones, fight against Israel. So we're going to move on now to chapter 11.